Apparently, Mike Tyson died while tripping on psychedelic toad venom. So Mike Tyson dropped dead from drugs, sorta. I died during my first trip, the 55-year-old former world champion boxer told the Post at Wonderland, a Miami conference dedicated to psychedelics, microdosing, and medicine. In my trips, I've seen that death is beautiful. Life and death both have to be beautiful, but death has a bad rep. The toad has taught me that I'm not going to be here forever. There's an expiration date. The toad is Bufo alvarius, a Mexico amphibian otherwise known as the Sonoran desert toad. It spends 7 months of the year living underground, but when it's active, its venom can be smoked to produce a short psychoactive trip. The venom has long been used in traditional healing rituals, but with the popularity of LSD and ayahuasca among the rich and famous, the toad is getting a lot more attention. Tyson discovered it 4 years ago. At the time, he was 100 pounds overweight, drinking and drugging. He was sluggish and unhappy. One of his friends suggested he try toad venom, and the athlete loved it. I did it as a dare, Tyson recalled. I was doing heavy drugs like cocaine, so why not? It's another dimension. Before I did the toad, I was a wreck. The toughest opponent I ever faced was myself. I had low self esteem. People with big egos often have low self esteem, and we use our ego to subsidize that. The toad strips the ego. So he's now tripped toad 53 times, sometimes 3 times in the same day. And he said he lost 100 pounds in 3 months, started boxing again, and reconnected with his wife and children. He's also become an advocate for psychedelics, evangelizing all over the country. It has made me more creative and helps me focus, he said. I'm more present as a businessman and entrepreneur. Tyson is so into the trippy toad that he has a whole nursery of the amphibians at his ranch in Desert Hot Springs in Southern California. Venom on demand, if you will. People see the difference in me, he said. It speaks for itself. If you knew me in 1989, you knew a different person. My mind isn't sophisticated enough to fathom what happened, but life has improved. The toad's whole purpose is to reach your highest potential. I look at the world differently. We're all the same. Everything is love. Tyson is working on 2 brands of cannabis, including one called Undefeated, with a new team including entrepreneur Adam Wilkes and marijuana heavyweight Columbia Care Incorporated. His Toad line will not include actual psychedelic venom, but the strain is inspired by his wild experiences with the toad. But with cities like Denver, Detroit, and Oakland starting to decriminalize mushrooms, Tyson hopes he will be able to sell the real toad venom soon. To that end, he's invested in Wasana Health, a biotech company that is using psilocybin psilocybin as a treatment for traumatic brain injuries. I'm fighting for the psychedelics to become medicine you can buy over the counter, he said. I'm not finished. I want to do more. I want to be the best I can be in this field. Now, the reason why we're covering this, even though we talk about finance, is because some people may need something like this, not necessarily this, but something like this, or something in their life that will dramatically change their perspective as to what is going on, right? Because one of the biggest downfalls of people's finances are themselves. One of the biggest downfalls of people's finances are their ego, right? Let's just use this example, right? Keeping up with the Joneses. We've all heard that term, right? Well, just think about how big of an issue it actually is. So let's say that you're someone who's making like 50K after taxes per year, right? So you buy a car on a loan, meaning you can't afford it, and the car's costing 50K. Like, that's the price point. That is the sticker price of the car. That's the amount that you actually financed for a car. A brand new car, right? 2021 model, maybe 2022 model because of the time frame of this recording. And you do it because, you got a nice job now. right? You're making okay money now. And also, you have a few friends that are driving BMWs, Mercedes, that kind of stuff, right? Maybe even have a friend that might be driving a Porsche, right? Well, you think like, oh man, I don't want to be driving like a beat up pickup truck. I don't want to be driving like this, 10-year-old Honda Civic, right? Or worse, a Prius, right? So you end up buying this brand new car on a loan that literally costs the same as how much money you make per year after taxes. Well, guess what? Nobody cares what you drive. And if they do care about what you drive, they are probably car poor as well, right? Because the thing that you got to really understand, right? Nobody cares about your life except for you, right? You are the one that is going to care the most about your life, that's going to care the most about what's going on in your life, right? Like your friends are not friends with you just because of the car that you drive. And why the hell are you trying to impress people with a car that you can't even afford, right? It's basically almost like the equivalent of like, let's say that you work at a job, you basically hate all your coworkers, right? And yet you buy a brand new car to impress your coworkers, right? Like, what are you doing, right? You're trying to impress people that you don't even care about. You're trying to impress people that don't even care about you, right? And this is the problem that a lot of people get into where, like, guess what? Your ego, your habits, the way that you view your life and at other people is a very big thing, and people really need to reel it in. People really need to be very careful as to what is going on in their like financial choices in their life, because by continuously doing things like this, by continuously doing things that are going to constantly put you in a worse shape financially just because of your ego, right? It can really end very, very badly for you in terms of your finances, right? Because guess what? That same amount that person would have been spending, like in this example, on a brand new car, right? The like 400, 500, $600 per month that they're going to be spending, right? Will literally turn to over $2 million if they simply put that money into an index fund, paying them like 6 to 7% per year, right? That's what it's actually costing you. It's literally costing you millions of dollars because of your ego, because you want to impress people that don't even care about you, right? So that you could maybe feel better about yourself by buying something that you can't even afford, right? Because you feel like maybe you deserve it, maybe because you want to like, stunt on people, right? Like be very careful when making choices that are based in basically nothing or superficial things. By the way, if you want to learn how to get out of debt, go to 40inbox.com.